meeting is being recorded.
Yeah, basically looks like a cow's hoof, somebody told me. But it's actually the letter Shin
Oh,
for Shaddai.
oh, yeah, I know, yeah.
And when the priests did their priestly blessing, that's what they did. They, like this. So I know I'm not a priest, I'm not a Kohen or a Levite, so I'm doing the blessing, so I figure,
Okay.
okay, well, education, it's a good question. Another good question is, there was a sixties folk rock song, Where Have All the Flowers Gone?
Yes,
Remember that song?
yes.
So maybe we can paraphrase and say, where have all the Jews gone? Because it's interesting. You would have thought that with all the Jew hatred going on, that people would be concerned and they wouldn't want to acknowledge their Judaism. I don't know about you, but when I get on social media, and I know the algorithms are at work, but I get all sorts of messages of people just standing up and just fighting it right in its face, being right in its face. Noah Tishby is an Israeli-American actress. She's been in a few things, and she has been an anti-Semitism ambassador from Israel to the country. She is constantly out doing things and fighting for Judaism. Some of you may know the comedian Michael Rappaport, who's been in a bunch of stuff. He has gotten to the point where he has started his campaign for mayor for 2028 of the city of New York. And he is constantly, and people constantly confronting the effrontery and the hypocrisy of all these famous people that called out Israel during the Gaza conflict. And now, where are they protesting the genocide in Iran, in Syria, in China, in North Korea, in Russia, and Ukraine? Nothing. Nothing. So I would think with these people and many others taking the lead in fighting back, and that's what we Jews do, we fight back. Hanukkah was about that. We're less than 2 weeks away from Purim. Purim was about that. You go through the Torah, through the Bible, and we have fought back many times. Even when we were persecuted and oppressed for 2,000 years, and we were chased out of every country, almost every country in the world, we still held fast to our values. And Judaism actually thrived. And yet, where are we now? Where are we today? You know, we always talk, us old people, and I'm an old person. I'm officially an old person. Talk about the good old days. When we had to go to Hebrew school. 3 times a week. Uphill both ways, no, I'm kidding. But we went. And we were there for all the holidays. And we had a very strong sense of Judaism. And somehow over the last 4 generations, that seems to have been lost. There doesn't seem to be a pride in Judaism. One of the things I looked at as a rabbi, and in becoming a rabbi, is how can I turn this around? What was it that turns people off from Judaism and maybe organized religion as it is? Well, a lot of this comes from the business world. And in the business world, you have to increase business. Right? You have to sell more product, you have to get more customers, more clients, whatever your business is. Religion is not different than that, except that we don't make a profit, but we do have to survive. We do have bills to pay, and for that we need a clientele, aka a congregation. And in order to get a congregation, the days of, well, I'm Jewish, I gotta do it, are over, apparently. Or maybe they're just on a hold. Maybe these crises didn't bring Jews together and say, I'm standing up for my Judaism. I'm standing up for my heritage. I'm standing up for my history. I'm going to be Jewish. In spite and in the face of all the opposition and oppression that my ancestors faced years ago. That doesn't seem to be happening. I like to think it's not happening yet, but it might slowly be gaining momentum. So what is it that we're not doing? Are people afraid to be Jewish? Are they afraid that somebody's going to walk in here with a machine gun, bust through the window, and slay them? It wouldn't be much of a victory for them today. They'd have to wait till Saturday morning, right? So, I don't know. But the idea of religion, what is religion anyway? You know, it's from the Latin word meaning to adhere, to something. In my mind, I ask kids this. I have a group of kids, once I asked them, I said, what do you see as the difference between religious and spiritual? They couldn't answer the question. Here's a good question. Let me give you my answer for what it's worth. Religion is the venue or the platform under which spirituality is developed. It's a platform. And spirituality, you could say, I believe in God, I do this, but religion is designed, in my mind, its ultimate goal is to provide a path to that spirituality. It's to give you structure. So what does Judaism do? Well, we got a lot of rules. 613 to be exact, and temple's not around, so 213 of them or so are not possible to adhere to. But we can certainly adhere to the rest. We can adhere to honor God, don't take God's name in vain, don't have other gods before our God, right? Honor the Sabbath. And then we've got all the other commandments that teach us, that compel us how to relate to our fellow humankind. Don't murder, don't steal, don't intrude on someone's property. Help others recover lost properties. Honor the stranger. Be kind to your parents. Things that ought to be basic but are not. They have to be spiritual. Maybe people are looking for the ultimate spiritual high. Maybe they want to start chanting and feel this cosmic rush. Judaism actually does that. If you do the prayers, if you chant Torah or Haftorah, you might get a little sense of that. There's certainly many Jewish scholars and sages have created that format within Judaism. Judaism has its own type of meditation. So that exists for us. So how do we get through? How do we get through to it? Do we have a generation that is just so turned off or so turned on by other things that they're just going to completely reject their heritage? Or are we adults not doing the proper job? I wrestle personally as a spiritual leader. I wrestle with both. We always got to try and do more. We got to make it more interesting, more relevant. Okay? We can easily talk about what happened 4,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. But people want to know what's going on now. What's in it for me now? So we have to gain that audience. So perhaps, and Judaism has gone through lulls before. People don't realize that, Purim. How many people were involved in saving the Jews in the story of Purim? How many people? 2, Mordecai and Esther was reluctant. So it really was just one guy. The Maccabees, right? The Hanukkah, what's that about? It's about the rebellion. Who did the rebellion? The Maccabees, just them, just that family, the 7 brothers. One of them was killed by an elephant falling on him. And that's why it took 7 years. That's why the Bar Kokhba rebellion against the Romans fell. That's why they had to call, even with only 1/3 of the Jews involved in Judea, that's why the Roman army had to send half their army down to take them out. But we survived. And we will survive. And we'll continue to survive. I personally believe, and I adhere to, this is my religion, my adherence, that we will survive. We are here to bridge a gap. That's why we are here. As few of us as there are. And other generations will see our strength. And they will see our resolve. And they will admire it. And they will say, there must be something there. And I need to dig deeper. Because maybe they were onto something. Why did they stay the course? And whatever it was, maybe that's something I need and I want it. And that's what will lead us back to spirituality. So we have hope. I don't like the word hope. To me, hope's a 4-letter word. Because hope means you're just sitting there wanting it. What are you doing about it? Okay? Well, we're doing the best we can. We're going over and above to maintain our traditions. And that's the answer. That's what we have to keep doing. Those of us that are here. Those of us that are paying attention. We have to keep our resolve and we have to keep going, even in the face sometimes of disappointment. But I know I can't, but I'd love to promise you that it'll work. I think it will. Nope, there is no try. Do it or not, there is no try. You jump off a diving board and there's no trying to hit the water. It's going to happen whether you want to or not.